The veteran broadcaster, 97, will appear in a documentary about the pliosaur, a ferocious marine reptile that terrorized the oceans about 150 million years ago. In an interview about Attenborough and the giant sea monster, Sir David said, "I think there are still going to be little 10-year-olds and 12-year-olds going around on bicycles hitting rocks with hammers. Put on glasses. It's very dangerous. I mustn't encourage children, they must wear eye protection. But kids that are being born today will still find that romantic, and not only kids." Sir David reminisced about the first fossil he found as a boy in Leicester where he grew up. He even said he was thwarted when he thought he would be a paleontologist. Sir David said, "It's easy to do when you're 8 years old, you know, it's that little romance which I never lost. I used to go at weekends. The thing is in Leicestershire was that they had ironstone workings, which were eventually worked out, so there were these empty quarries. You could get on your bicycle and ride for 15 miles or so and get lost in this great expanse of rock. All these boulders that nobody had ever hit. You'd think, surely the next one. If I hit that one I'll find something nobody has seen before." The 6 feet 5 inches long fossil at the center of the documentary is one of the most complete specimens of its type ever discovered and is giving new insights into this ancient predator. The skull will be featured in a special program on BBC One on New Year's Day. Sir David said, "This film is about the discovery of the skull of an extraordinary monster of the seas, one of the biggest predators the world has ever seen. The skull is the most important part of an animal, and what you can deduce from the skull is absolutely fascinating. Imagine that you were from Mars, and when you landed on Earth all you could find were human skeletons but not a single one with a skull. You wouldn't know anything about it at all. You wouldn't know what it fed on, how it could move, you wouldn't know what it could see, it would be useless." Well, that is more or less was the situation we were in as far as this particular pliosaur was concerned. The skull had the potential to be the most informative find of any pliosaur ever made, but unfortunately, or initially unfortunately, it was only the end tip of this huge skull that was found. But the skull is the most informative part of any skeleton, and it promised to have all those details in it if you could only get it out. This is the story of how it was got out, and how it was examined by scientists with all kinds of latest state-of-the-art equipment, how they were able to interpret it and tell us new things about pliosaurs, one of the biggest carnivorous creatures the world has ever seen. Sir David described the complexities of extracting the fossil, which weighs half a ton, from a crumbling cliff face on Dorset's Jurassic coast. He said, "That's a pretty heavy thing to handle. Now, you have to get it out from halfway up the face of a tall cliff which itself is crumbling away, and if you drop it and break it, it is a major catastrophe. I mean, you will have lost a lot of information. So the problem we see in the first part of the program was about is how on earth do you go around getting this out? They only had a certain length of time because the storms of summer were on the way, and fortunately at that time the weather was sunny enough for the team to start working immediately. But they knew that in 2 or 3 weeks' time there was going to be a rainstorm and that could have ruined everything, so they were working against the clock, and it was that drama of actually getting it out, the sheer mechanical drama of extracting this thing which occupies the first section of the film. You feel the tension as the people are trying to get it out, and do it safely. Attenborough and the Giant Sea Monster will air at 8 p.m. on New Year's Day, on BBC One and iPlayer.